Hello, fellow lovers, to another episode of Me and My Health Up, the mini series on all things love. The purpose of this mini series is to enhance and enlighten your relationships. I'm your host, Anthony Harcher. I'm a clinical nutritionist and lifestyle medicine specialist. In this episode, Heal Your Heart, we welcome back Miranda Claire, the Soulmate Coach, a relationship and mindset expert, speaker, coach, and writer, plus, not to forget, the matchmaker.
Uh,
Miranda has been a relationship expert for over 11 years and studying and working extensively over the last 2 decades in the areas of relationships, human behavior, positive psychology, mindset, matchmaking, and personal transformation slash development. Miranda is an internationally certified master coach and trainer on these subjects and certifies and coaches other coaches and psychologists. Welcome, Miranda. How are you today?
wow, what a mouthful. I've been a busy girl over the last 2 decades. Thanks for the intro there, Anthony. Very good. Great to be back.
So awesome to have you back. And for those that are watching the episode, I'm wearing pink. My daughter's pink earphones,
We
and
spoke all about feminine energy last podcast, and it really resonated with Anthony. He's really nailing it today.
absolutely, and I can't tell my daughter, so I'm hoping she doesn't watch this YouTube or find it because I haven't got permission to use them. But
We
anyway,
keep
let's
that
recap.
going.
Let's recap the highlights of last discussion. So, the last episode with Miranda, we spoke about leaving a relationship and how to leave a relationship. And Miranda's key point there was not to leave a stone unturned, because essentially you don't want to take any of the baggage from your previous relationship into the next one. You want to, start on a clean slate, and that's exactly what we're going to go through today: is how to start out again and really hit the ground running in terms of relationship success. So you're not dabbling and having hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss. We're going to really talk, get some good strategies as to how you can do it and get back on the relationship bandwagon. We also spoke about in the last episode about effective comms, because this helps, even when you're starting out a new relationship or wanting to end an old relationship or wanting to rekindle the love in the old relationship. So we spoke about walk and talks and how effective those walk and talks are, and the love sandwich. So if you didn't listen to the last episode, I really recommend you jump in and listen to the previous episode, because it's especially good for just maintaining success and the love in a existing relationship. Anything to add, Miranda?
For those that find the love sandwich a bit too touchy-feely, I have been known to call it the shit sandwich as well. So there's something for everyone on that last session, and lots of really great nuggets that even if you listened or rewatched that a couple of times, took notes and applied it to your relationship this week, I would put money on the fact that you will get a breakthrough within a relationship. And if you are single, you could explore taking these principles and doing it with one of your people in your tribe that you want to build more intimacy or connection with, or possibly even do the light-hearted version with people that you're getting to know on the dating scene as well.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's switch gears and hook into you've left a relationship or you've long left a relationship, how to get started again. So this is Heal Your Heart. And let's start out with some helpful strategies from Miranda as to how to restart and reboot and have love success.
Awesome. We could even rename this one "Heal Your Shit" for the people that don't want to heal your heart. But that's one thing about me that you'll get used to. I believe that love is a real balance of tough love and soft love. So it's very me to call it "Heal Your Heart" or "Heal Your Shit." It really acknowledges both of those polarities. And I love the couples and the singles that I work with enough to be tough love at times, or soft love at others, to be an example of the kind of relationship we should have with ourselves, which is a combination of those things, and the relationship we should have with others, whether it's romantic or other. Now, when it comes to healing your heart after a breakup, I approach this in a very clear two-step process. Step one is all about self-love, and it's all about self-dating. Step two is all about soulmate. or soulmating, and pun not intended, more focused on the soul rather than the mating component of that. We can save that for another expert. I'm definitely the soulmate coach rather than the hookup coach, if you know what I mean. So what I believe we need to do under the first component of the two, which is the self-love, self-dating, is 3 steps. So I apologize if I'm looking down. I have written down notes because I'm a visual personality. Thanks for noticing. And the first one is step 1, or 1A of the self-love, self-dating, is all about healing your heart, which is conveniently the name of this part of the series. And it's really about healing your patterns within a relationship to do with your heart, to do with love, to do with romance. And it's about enhancing your strengths that make you magnetic to love, but healing your wounds and your blockages that hold you back or sabotage you around love. Now, some of those patterns have to do with how you show up in a relationship, who you bring to a relationship, what goes on with the you-ness in that relationship, and also what you're attracting or not attracting in terms of the themness. So an example of a pattern that could be reoccurring with the themness is, do you keep attracting narcissists? Do you keep attracting people that are emotionally unavailable? Do you keep attracting love triangles or affairs or unavailable people? And whilst it's easy to point the finger and say, God, there's so many of those people out there, what you need to recognize is you're the common denominator. And whilst it's not your fault, and this is not about being a victim or blaming yourself, it's about taking responsibility and saying, I can be angry about the fish I keep catching, or I can get curious about the bait I keep putting on that hook. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not sharks out there. I get it. But if we're constantly just wanting to find Nemo, we may miss the big breakthrough around what it is that's attracting Nemo or not attracting Nemo and attracting sharks. And so it's about healing your heart so that you can put the correct bait on that hook, attract your ideal pattern and your ideal mate, and also be okay if you don't have anyone, because that person doesn't complete you. That person is just someone that you get to hold hands with on this adventure and this journey and this roller coaster called life. But that journey is your journey. And if we have any wounds or gaps in our heart, it can be so tempting for someone to come in and fix us and heal us and be our therapist or fill in our wounds. And wounds are not there to just be covered over. They're there to be healed. And it's no one's job except ours. So in order to do the work not to attract a codependent, rescuing, toxic relationship, we need to rescue ourselves and really heal our own heart. And that's the work that I do. But there's so many do-it-yourself practices around self-love if you want to do the independent approach. But one of the beauties of having a coach is that they can point out your blind spots. And often our deepest wounds are unconscious. And so just like you would go to a doctor and get an x-ray if you had an issue internally, sometimes you need to see the love doctor and actually inquire what your deep unconscious heart blockages are that can only be gotten to by someone that has that x-ray vision and that level of qualification and experience to help you get in there and really discover those wounds and heal them, rather than just covering them up with the next relationship and wondering why that same old wound seems to fester again. It's the same person, same pattern, different body, different flesh suit. And often even that's not that different. I've met clients that keep dating Steve, same age, same pattern. And I'm like, wow, universe is having a real giggle with you on this one. The lesson keeps showing up until you actually get the lesson. And part 2 of the self-love with that heal your heart and the patterns and whatnot being part 1A. Part 1B, so to speak, would be mastering your mindset. Now, that might sound similar to mastering your heart, but it's slightly different. Your heart is like your unconscious wounds, which typically are only activated when you're triggered in a relationship or triggered because you're out of a relationship. What is that hole in your heart? That's what I mean by heal your heart. Whereas when it comes to mindset, it's about what is your self-talk? What is your identity? What is your language around relationships? Are you using language like there's a man drought, or all the women are money diggers, or everyone wants one thing, or online dating is cheap and nasty? Or have you got a mindset that is like abundance mindset? I have not had a million failed relationships. I've had a million dress rehearsals, and I am ready to meet the one, and I can't wait. And bring on one more dress rehearsal if that's what I need, or bring on my soulmate if that's what I'm ready for. I'm open to both. That's a growth mindset around soulmates, and it's going to attract different things. You're going to notice different things. You're going to hold yourself differently. You're going to attract like-minded people, and like attracts like. If you are negative and heavy around relationships, you're either going to attract people that are negative and heavy around it, or give you stuff to be negative and heavy about, because we like being right. We like that feeling of certainty. And so we manifest things that reinforce the certainty, and then the vicious cycle continues. Or we can jump out of those patterns and actually master our mindset deliberately and consciously, and decide the kind of people, experiences, and opportunities we want to start noticing, we want to start manifesting, and we want to start bringing into our life. And it's not something where you just wake up and go, I'm going to be positive. It is a real fine tuning of your self-talk, the words you use, the words you don't use, your language, your mindset, being solution focused or being problem focused. And a lot of the time that has to do with the unconscious programming, which kind of overlaps with the healing your heart. It's healing your unconscious mind and healing your patterns around psychology as well. And then number 3 is or self-love, part 1C, I think I'm up to. 1A is heal your heart, 1B is master your mindset, and 1C is a makeover. So even though that can sound quite superficial, it's actually quite deep and incredibly non-negotiable when it comes to your soulmate. You guys are listening to myself and the amazing Anthony now. And if you're still listening, it means you made up your mind about us in the first 10 seconds and you decided, I associate positivity to these people, I associate positivity to this content, or I'm on the fence and I'm curious to hear more. If you guys thought, nah, don't buy them, don't have rapport, don't like them, you're probably not still on this call. And that decision would have been made in the first 10 seconds, possibly before we even opened our mouth. And that decision was based on things like our personality, which was shown through our energy, our eye contact, our body language, our tone of voice, our appearance. Maybe you hate red lipstick, maybe you love it, maybe you like pink earphones, maybe you hate it. And it sounds trivial, but we are all presents that are gift wrapped. And if you do not like or do not agree with the gift wrapping, you ain't going to open the present. And so from a soulmate perspective, I work with clients to very hands-on transform things like always the inner work, the psychology in the heart. We heal that stuff first, most important. And we get you to the point that you would date you on the inside. You would date your soul. You would date your life. You would date you as a package. But part of that package is the makeover of the gift wrapping of that package. So it's about making over you, not just your becoming the best version of you for you internally, but also looking at style. What's your clothing like? What's your communication like? What's your Tinder profile like? What is your home like? You can even have feng shui that is conducive for soulmates, or has the opposite effect. You really want to be that whole package. Think about when you're dating someone, you are constantly evaluating them, whether it's unconscious or conscious, and going, are they absolutely not material? Are they, I'm not sure material? Are they booty call material, or are they husband or wife material? And that is constantly rolling around in our mind, whether we know it or not, as we're dating someone. And guess what? They're doing that to us as well. And they're not doing it to judge us. And that's where people get paranoid of rejection. They're doing it so that they don't get hurt, because they probably need to heal their heart and master their mindset. And they're probably scared of rejection. And so they're evaluating you in terms of, am I going to get hurt? Is this person a match or a threat? Because they want to feel safe, not because they want you to feel unsafe. And they're really looking intuitively at what you say, how you say it. Your level of self-love is so obvious. It's given away in how you talk, how you stand, eye contact, words you use. They're looking at, are they the whole package? Are they the package with the relationship they have with themselves, with their family? What about their career? Do they do something they're passionate about? Do they have a hobby and a mission? Are they dressed well? Do they smell good? We're animals. There's chemistry. You can look the part on Zoom, but if you show up to real date with bad breath and dirty fingernails, it's really important that, and it's not about being in your ego and being what you think they want you to be. It's about being 90% focused on what you want you to be. What would it take for you to date you? What would make you fall madly in love with the most authentic version of you, with a sprinkling of best version? Let's polish it. But it's about authenticity, not about perfection. And if you have an ideal client or an ideal soulmate, so to speak, you want to think, who are they dating? Let's do a bit of market research here. And If there's a 10% area where you can be a little bit more of that and it's in alignment with you being authentic and the best version of you, stretch yourself and do that, because you want to appeal to your ideal client. And I say client because it's got business parallels. It's a lot like recruitment. It's a lot like doing business in some ways, the business of love. But it's really, if you look at who your ideal client is attracted to, and if that person is not you, you need to either be willing to get more into vibration with that kind of person and tweak within that 10%, or change what you are going after, because you're putting prawns on your hook wanting to catch a dolphin, and instead you're putting something else on your hook and you're wondering why you're catching a shark. And what you're putting on the hook may be the best version of you according to you, but you need to start wanting to catch dolphins, or stop, so we've got to line up that whole thing and really make sure it comes from a space of self-love, integrity, authenticity, and put all these pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. And once we've done that, it means you love yourself, you would date yourself, and you are dateable to the kind of person that you want to date. And that's when you're ready for the soul mating or the soul matchmaking. And that's where it's time to mingle, time to match, and time to meet the one, because you've done that self-love component.
Wow, that was one hell of a response and awesome. So much valuable content, and I was in awe with all the steps and how methodical it is, but how well thought out each step is, and the just the synchronicity of the timing of each is really important. And
Mm.
because often when you've left a relationship, and particularly if you've been the one that's been dumped, and you really that heart's been sunk, and you're thinking nobody loves me, and so you can quickly from that feeling go straight into rebound effect, just
Absolutely.
grab.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
you make a good point. So there's the dumper or the dumpee. You're talking from the dumpee's perspective, and you use the self-talk, nobody loves me. And what that person would typically do would be blame the breakup or the dumper for the feelings that they're feeling, or blame themselves for being unlovable. But what I help them do is to get really conscious about what the actual problem is, the difference that makes the difference. And it's actually that story that I'm unlovable, no one loves me. That is the thing that is making them sad, not the breakup, not the person, and it's not their fault from a victimy point of view. It is, let's just get really, really clear. If you bake a cake with eggs, I'm not much of a baker, so bear with me on the metaphor, eggs, sugar, flour, and if you change one ingredient and replace the sugar for salt, you have a completely different cake. And people really go global with their views on relationship and make it about a big character flaw or a big what's wrong with me, I'm not good enough. But it's actually just, let's change the sugar to salt or the salt to sugar in that one sentence you are telling yourself in your head, and you have a different story, a different attitude, a different energy, and different results. So the story, nobody loves me, could become, that was an amazing journey in the Soulmate book. And it really helped me get clear on attributes I do want, attributes I don't want from the person I'm dating and the person I want to be when dating. And if that was the relationship that didn't work out and there was so much good about it, I can't wait to see the one that actually does work out. And I'm open to 10 more learnings like that. And I'm nothing but grateful and have nothing but forgiveness and joy in my heart. And I'm so excited to see what's around the corner. And in the meantime, bring on dating myself. You're never single. You're either dating yourself and someone else, or you're just dating yourself, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I love that dating yourself concept, because and you've got that first. That's one A, heal your heart, and get into self dating, and that's one that's very applicable. Even if you're in a great relationship, however your mental health may have been knocked because of COVID-19, and the pandemic's caused all sorts of upheaval and
Sure.
uncertainty. And so I'm just thinking some really good, some I know, and I'm all for seeing experts, but those people that just want some do it yourself,
Yeah.
and get started in terms of
Oh,
how
look.
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
really
I'm
helpful.
happy to share my morning ritual, which is all about cultivating self-love, self-dating, and raising your vibration. Now, I know it's weird and a bit woo-woo talking about vibration, but if you look at anything, including the chair you're sitting on, everything vibrates, everything is energy. And so human beings have the ability through emotion and through self-talk and through personal development and through decisions they consciously make, have the ability to either have a low vibration where you kind of have bad vibes or have a low day, or raise our vibration and bring it to one of gratitude, optimism, forgiveness. And that like attracts like on a vibrational level. So if you're feeling down, you will attract things that are either going to reinforce that and have you feel more down, or as down as you, or possibly attract the rescuing pattern that wants to help bring you up, but it's not their job and it becomes toxic. Whereas if you raise your vibration, which is what my morning ritual is designed to do, top up the self-love tank, raise the vibration, date myself, allow time. So most people talk about the 9 to 5 grind. What are you doing in the 9 to 5 grind? But I actually build my day in 3 chunks. I wake up at 5, been up since 5 this morning, and I call it the 5 to 9. That happens even before the 9 to 5 happens. And the 5 to 9 is about self-love. The 9 to 5 is all about helping through relationships, known as business, because business is all relationships. And then in the evening, it's about soulmates. So hanging out with my family, my partner, my friends. And so my day is all about soulmates, but I acknowledge the most important soulmate first, which is me. And how I do that is I wake up at 5, put my feet on the ground, and I say it's going to be a good day. Why? Because my feet are above ground. I then get out of bed and I play some affirmations. I'm half asleep, haven't had my coffee yet. And sorry, I know you're a wellness coach. Don't know if you agree with that or not. At least it's not vodka, right? And I listen to my affirmations. It doesn't matter who you listen to. There's great ones out there. You can record your own on your iPhone. You know, I recommend Esther Hicks, Louise Hay, someone nice and dreamy. So, you know, it doesn't, you know, not so sleepy that you fall back to sleep. You actually need to get out of bed. That's the first key. And I like to take a, you know, healthy kind of guarana caffeine tablet first thing. So I have no excuses based on how I feel. It's just like 3, 2, 1, you're up, non-negotiable. I listen to the affirmations while the caffeine and the good herbs kick in. I go and make myself a hot water and lemon, and I allow myself to just wake up. I don't think about anything else. I don't check social media. I don't check my emails. I don't allow my self-talk to take over. Straight in, caffeine, warm water and lemon. So for the first 15 minutes of my day, it's all about positivity, good self-talk, and healing the body. I then jump out of bed, because you would know this better than anyone, but you know, I used to do kind of my spiritual and mindset practices first and my exercise second, but I've actually switched it around for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm friggin' lazy. So I want to do the hardest stuff first and get it done. And number 2, when your body is cranking with endorphins, it's a lot easier to be positive and a lot easier to sit still and meditate. So I take my butt out of the house, I go to the gym, I listen to audiobooks and positive music, and I just really get that blood pumping. And that's a gesture of self-love through movement. Get home, I'm exhausted. I walk the dog at the end of the gym. So I really, by now, I've done like 90 minutes exercise. I'm sweating, endorphins are cranking. I've listened to audiobooks. I'm at home and I just want to lie down. Guess what? That's the best time to meditate, because you're going with what your body is wanting at that point. I lie down and I listen to a really beautiful sound healing. And it's the frequency from a sound point of view of self-love as a vibrational frequency. It sounds like spiritual music, goes for 5 minutes, and I listen to it. And it means I have a timed 5-minute sound healing / meditation. And the whole idea is just to think of nothingness. Breathe. Just focus on your breath, if anything, and just allow yourself to be in that blank, empty space, and allow your self-love, which you've already been working on, to be topped up even more vibrationally. I then, what do I do after that? Focus on gratitude, because gratitude is the best way to fill your heart with love and be thankful. And it's also the best way to magnetize more to be thankful for into your life. So I get my gratitude journal out and I scribble down around 20 things I'm grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours, so that it's specific. That's the key to gratitude. A lot of people do gratitude. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my partner. And whilst those things are amazing, specificity is what hits us in the heart. The quirkier and the more specific. So I give myself that last 24-hour window and I go, I'm thankful for when my partner did that particular thing and made me dinner and did a smiley face out of the vegetables on the plate. I am thankful for my dog. When we went on our walk, I saw him trotting along and the sun hit him and I saw his little shadow, and he's a British bulldog and he looked like a little porky pig bouncing. Grateful for that. I'm grateful for that client called Sarah who direct deposited money into my account to rebook because I'd saved her marriage and she got so much value. You know, so the more you get really particular last 24 hours, it hits you in the heart. And then after that, I go through a very particular goal setting process about where I want to be in the next quarter, in the next 6 months, in the next 3/4 of a year, and over the next year, as well as where I want to be in the next 7 years. So long-term, short-term vision. And I think about the kind of person I want to be, the things that person needs to do in order to have what I want to have. So it's about identity building. Who am I? Do I need to be committed? Do I need to be kind? Do I need to be cheeky? And a lot of people don't do that identity work, and you never outperform your identity. If you think you're a lazy person, you'll do lazy shit, you'll get lazy results. If you think I'm a high achiever, you want to fulfill that identity. So it's really, really important. Then I make sure that I do the styling and practice what I preach, and I look the part, and the gift wrapping matches my vibration of self-love. And by the way, given the line of work I'm in, I can express my self-love either through doing the Glamour Puss Soulmate look, which I've got going right now, or I can do self-love by sometimes I show up for my regular clients and I'm in my Lululemon trackies. I've got no makeup. I've got my hair in a top knot, and I still look self-loving, because only someone self-loving would have the authenticity to do that. But it's also the best version of me looking like a dag. I'm not rocking up with bags under my eyes and frazzled hair everywhere. Even though I love myself enough to do that, I always sprinkle that best version and go, what is the gift wrapping? If I wanted someone to open this book so that I can add value, what would draw them to the book? And realness, you can do in a best version way, or you can do it in a disheveled way. And you need to know the difference. But there's all different ways you can show up, but you need to be appropriate for the person and the situation. And right now, this is appropriate. But if you guys were regular clients and I'd seen you 5 times, I might show up like that to be an example of going to the gym and being fresh-faced and being authentic as well.
That's an awesome morning ritual from a health perspective, from a soulmate perspective, self-love. I thoroughly immersed myself in everything you've said, and
Yep.
and for me, I think about all the benefits you can get, beyond attracting that ideal, but it is all about, as you said, raising that vibrational energy, and really, as you said in, I think it was 1B, so mindset was, like attracts like. So that's really, taking yourself up to that, vibration state, so that you're ready for your go out there and matchmaking day. And so just on, there was a couple of things that, I love the gratitude and the specificity around the gratitude, specificness.
There's
So
one word like that I always get stuck on. It's decompartmentalize. Anyway,
yeah,
the one.
we always have one of them, don't
We've
we?
all got one.
Yeah, we're all human, at least we're authentic. So, and I love that how you mentioned authenticity, because that's fundamental to life success. Yeah, so there was a point you touched in. It was a book I just read, Think Like a Monk, and he mentioned, Jay mentions in his book,
Mm,
was that element of, everyone's good at creating a to-do list. Everyone's got a to-do list, and they create one every day. But what I loved, and you touched on a key point of his, is that to-be list. So next to your to-do list is to create that to-be list. And
absolutely. And something I'll add on there, I love Jay Shetty. He's brilliant. So I definitely need to add that to my wish list. I've seen that book a few times on Audible. Audible. We've caught the can't talk bug.
yes.
And I've been drawn to it. So I'll take this as my sign from the universe to read it. But where was I going with that? I've played myself out. I've gone on a humorous tangent. The key is to work backwards. So be, do, have. Be is who do I need to be? Do is what do I need to do, and have is what do I need to have. Too many people go in the order of be, do, have, because that's the order we often say it in. But the secret is to work backwards, because most people find it easier to know what they want to have. So in other words, create a vision board. Put on your vision board, put a date, put 7 years from now is the perfect date. So by 2028, what do you want to have? And I've got mine over here. And you'll have, I want to have that car, I want to have that house, I want to have that body, I want to have that relationship, I want to have that business profile, I want to have that charity, I want to have that impact. What you need to do is start with the have, and then think, if I was to achieve that in the next 12 months, so put pressure on yourself and make it a bit more urgent than 7 years, what would I need to do? Like if my life depended on it, or if a loved one of mine was going to be kidnapped and held for ransom unless I did this, what would be my plan and what would I do? And you're either going to write down the things you need to do that you do know. And if you don't know, then you can say, find out how to do it from someone who knows how to do it. And that's how you create a bulletproof plan. And then you need to think backwards from the doing, who would I need to be to do that? And so you read back over it and go, let's just use one example. If my dream car is a Ferrari, which it's not, but if my dream car is a Ferrari, what would I need to do in the next 12 months if I was going to have that in 12 months from now? I would need to do X amount in revenue each week, which means X amount of phone calls, a 90% close rate, and X amount of deals. See how specific this gets, which equals that amount of money in the bank. I'd also need to go in the draw for Lotto once a week. I'd also need to research Ferrari winning competitions. I might also need to test drive a Ferrari to get into vibration with it, because the law of attraction states you've got to have a burning desire, clear on what you want, but then you need to act and feel like you've already got it. Now, if you were already someone that was a Ferrari owner, you would be driving a Ferrari. So what's the closest thing you can do to doing that is driving a Ferrari. Go test drive the thing. So these are the things you need to do. Now, who would you need to be in order to close those sales, test drive that Ferrari, and ultimately have it within 12 months to 7 years? Who you would need to be is committed, determined, a business person, cheeky, comfortable being uncomfortable. And if you stop and get very real about where you are right now, and if your best friend was to be a fly on the wall and describe you in a few adjectives, if they're not describing you as those things, that's where you start. Because they might say, if I interviewed your best friend as a fly on the wall, how is this person being over the average of a week? They're being lazy, they're being self-doubting, they're self-sabotaging, they're being insecure, they're being a procrastinator. That's not the identity of someone that's going to hustle like that, take action like that, test drive a car they can't even afford yet. We've got to have a different level of beingness so you can do the things you know you need to do and more in order to have the things you want to have and more. And so that's how they all link up, and you do it in reverse order, because otherwise you'll just guess, I think I need to be inspirational. But that's not it. Inspirational is what the people looking at you will say. Who you need to be is actually a bunch of other stuff that's probably blind to you right now.
Awesome. I love that analogy. And I'm just thinking, I'm in that Ferrari on switching gears at the moment. And I was thinking that, that ideal partner is obviously on people's mind at this present point. And you mentioned about your morning ritual, which I love, because it's that self-care, that self-love, and that lifts your vibration to increase the attractiveness of who you want in your life. And I love that. And then you go to work, which people are probably about to do now, they're at work.
Yeah.
And then that last bit of the day, which you mentioned, is the soulmate. And I'm really keen to wrap this podcast up on your nightly ritual around the soulmate, because I really like that, the whole concept.
Absolutely. Well, let me actually get my phone out, because I'm the queen of lists in my notes section, and I'll read it straight from the Soulmate Coach's mouth. So I'm actually, it's almost bordering unwell how much I love lists. But I've got a list for my morning ritual, my daytime ritual, and my evening ritual. And I've even got a list for what I do on the breaks, which is scheduled throughout my day to make sure that I have a liter of water, I have any vitamins I'm due for, I eat self-loving food, and I stop to say something I'm grateful for, energize my mindset, have a micro nap, do whatever it takes to recharge that self-love to keep it buzzing all day. And in the evening, so there's the 5 to 9 time slot, the 9 to 5, and then it goes 5 to 9 again, and then in bed by 9. So first of all, I do the walk and talk, which is something that I shared with you on the last podcast. If those of you that haven't listened, I suggest that you flick back. And I either do that walk and talk by myself if my partner's not around, and I use the walk and talk as a chance to move my body, because I work from home, and all day I'm giving and serving my clients, and it's a great chance to kind of decompress, get out in nature, get a bit of extra bonus calories burnt, and walk and talk. So if I'm by myself, if I'm in the mood to kind of recover a bit, I might build the relationship with myself, and that is the soulmate relationship. And I might listen to a beautiful audiobook or a podcast. If I need to or want to, I might use it as soulmate time to catch up on any missed phone calls from friends and family that day. Send a voice memo or two to people I popping onto my intuition. I haven't reached out to family, friends, top clients, people in my tribe that I feel drawn to catch up to, answer any of the voice memos or texts or calls that I have deprioritized through the day because I've been in sessions or whatever like that. Any phone calls. So I do that, and I do the walk and talk, and I walk my dog, and I have that soulmate connection, but it's a nice break out of the office, and it's less structured than in the appointments I do in the day. I then decompress, and I look after what I call my, oh, and by the way, on the walk and talk, if my soulmate is around, then the phone can go off, it can go away, and we can do our walk and talk and kind of help decompress our days with each other and give each other a bit of a feedback sandwich where we take turns going, what I loved about today was blah, blah, blah. What sucked about today was F you, F this, crap, let it out. However, what I learned from that and what I love about today is X, Y, and Z. And then they have a turn. And that's how you decompress your day together. And then you turn to each other and you say, let's get personal. What I love about you in the last 24 hours is blah, 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 blah. And what shits me about you in the last 24 hours is blah, 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 but through the lens of taking responsibility, because it's okay to kind of have a vent about your day, but you don't want to have a vent about the person to the person in an attacking way, or their nervous system will go into fight or flight. So it's I love, I love, I love. And then it's like stuff I need to get off my chest, but I take personal ownership that they're my triggers. Da 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 da, but I kind of know what that's about internally, but I'm just sharing it with you to be real. And what I love is love, 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 love. So you do the shit sandwich or the love sandwich about your day, and then you do it about your partner in a personal ownership empowered way. They listen with one goal, which is to hear and to empathize and to validate through listening. There's no interrupting, there's no rebuttal, there's no retaliation. You've nailed your job if you've listened and occasionally made noises like, wow, just to know you're alive. And you both have a turn of doing that. Then I have some study time. And that's just the time I've allocated to do it. So any course that I personally am doing at that time, because I'm so busy teaching in the day that it's learning time at night. I then do preparation for the following day in terms of food prep, bags packed, confirming appointments. And I then do relaxation time, which is self-love in the form of doing my beauty routine, having a shower. Also, I hang out with my 18-year-old and we have more family time, TV time, decompress as a family. And I've fully put the king and the queen of the kingdom first. And I do believe it should be us first, then the problem, us first, then the kids, us first, then everything else. Not because the kids aren't a top priority. Of course they are if they've got a broken leg. But just in the day-to-day running or the go-to methodology, if the king and queen work, so does the whole kingdom. And it should be us first, do with, we're a team, and then the kingdom. And so that's why I do it in the order that I do. And TV time can be fun and we can be there as role models for the family by that point. And then it's 9 p.m, go to bed listening to affirmations, not true crime, which is my naughty habit if I'm misbehaving, because I'm guaranteed to have nightmares and screw up the morning routine if I do that. But I try and watch something like The Secret or listen to self-hypnosis or listen to something really dreamy that puts me out to a really nice place. And I make sure I set an alarm that is a very intrusive alarm that is in no way a continuation of my self-hypnosis. And I turn off the snooze button. So I'm guaranteed to get up at 5.
Oh, I love it. I love this. The kingdom, looking after the queen and the king, and then the rest of the kingdom. It's fantastic because that really is that working in that non-urgent but important and keeping life in that quadrant. As I think is that Stephen Covey.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
700
yeah,
effective
yes,
people. But it's,
yes.
as parents, and not everyone has a family, not everyone wants one, and that's totally cool. But I think sometimes parents feel like they have to give their kids the shirt off their back constantly, and that is what being a parent is. But that's just one facet of being a parent. That's showing them what selfless love looks like. But it's also our responsibility to show our kids and our partner what self-love looks like and be an example to inspire the change and give permission for other people to do the same. And it's also important to show your kids what a healthy, beautiful relationship looks like, whether you're going through the self-love journey or you're doing the self-love plus soulmate journey. And unless you prioritize the relationship, you prioritize self-love, and you give them the shirt off your back and you show them there's a time and place to do all 3, you're only going to teach them how to be that parent that gives at the expense of themselves. And that gift will keep giving generationally, and people will miss out on how to have amazing relationships and how to have self-love. And those two skills can actually not just be life-changing, but life-saving. I've heard of so many tragic stories of people committing suicide because relationships, including the relationship with themselves, were so toxic or so foreign or so they didn't know how to navigate it, that the worst of the worst happened. So these skills can actually save the lives of yourself and the people you love, if you really master this stuff.
Absolutely. And, talking about mastery and being a great role model, and you certainly are that. The listeners are probably very intrigued to know how they can connect with you. So
Awesome.
please share.
Beautiful. Something a little bit special for your listeners. Can you hear me? It's just frozen a little bit. It was just a brief pause. I'm actually doing sorry, just checking you can hear me. Is it
Yes, all
freezing?
good, all loud and clear. Yep.
Oh,
So
okay,
audio's
perfect. Might
good.
have been my brain freezing if it didn't come through on your end. So I, on the 12th of February, decided to put together an event. It is an exclusive Soulmates event. The reason I'm calling it an event is because if I call it what it actually is, some people will immediately have their walls come up and go, I'm too scared, that's too scary. But let me unpack the event while you're still listening and you feel safe. Ears wide open, don't make any decisions. It's a bit of a last minute decision to put this on. It's been because I work with singles that want to meet their soulmate all the time, and I'm a helper by nature. I'm a helper and a healer by nature, and I want to do more than just organically matchmaking my clients in a one-on-one fashion. And I really want to start doing the one-to-many matchmaking and put it on steroids. So it really comes from a place of wanting to help and serve. It is the first one of its kind. So there might be 3 people in it, or there might be 300. I have no idea. I'm aiming for an intimate group. It's by interview only because I really want to make sure the right people with the right intentions are on this. But what it is, picture yourself Friday night before Valentine's Day, 12th of February, not long from now. You're finished work for the day, it's 5 p.m. You pour your favourite beverage, whether it's a cup of tea or a glass of wine. It'll be an organic red wine for me. And you think, what am I going to do tonight? You're feeling a little bit uneasy about Valentine's Day coming. Your inbox is full of Valentine's Day marketing. And you think, I'd either really like to work on self-love and date myself in time for Valentine's, or screw it, I'd like to have a date in time for Valentine's. Or maybe you're part of a couple and you've got no plans on a Friday night and you think, I'm in a loved up relationship, but I've got about 5 friends that are catchers, that are single, that need matchmaking. If you're any of those people, I want you to tune into this event. I'm just going to call it an event. And what it is, it's a bit of a hybrid event. So it's going to be facilitated by me. I'm designing it in a way that is totally unawkward, totally structured. So all you need to do is show up with your favorite beverage, 7 p.m., Friday night, Friday before Valentine's on the 12th. And I'm going to facilitate everyone going around the grounds and actually saying 2 things, whether you're single or you're in a relationship or you're gay, straight, whether you live here, New Zealand, London, I don't care who you are or where you are, I'll interview you to make sure you've got the right attitude. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a particular location or sexuality or anything like that. What I'm looking for is someone who values self-love and they've got a growth mindset, someone that is sassy and successful, and someone that wants their soulmate, so that there's that general synergy there. We're all going to dial in, and then we're going to go around the grounds and say who you are and what you're looking for. That's all we're going to do. And I'm going to give you the exact questions so you literally read out your answer. So don't let public speaking get in the way. If you're scared of it, well done. You're about to have a breakthrough. This is not just for extroverts. This is for anyone and everyone. You'll put in a secret word. So you're not going to have your real name on Zoom. It's going to be, I'm going to have you all name yourself by an adjective. So it's Mr. Happy. It's Mrs. Playful. It's Mr. Angry. Hopefully I don't have many of them. And going around the ground in a group format, this is who I am and this is what I want. And if you're in a couple, you might say, hey, I'm happily soulmated, I'm with the love of my life, but what I'm looking for is someone to matchmake my brother with. My brother is tall, dark and handsome, really a gentleman, and is in IT. If you're a single, you might say, hey, I am a vet and I am super intuitive and caring. And what I'm looking for is soulmate. I'm really ready to have a baby and I'm not getting any younger, but I have to have that soul connection. And I want someone that really wants to come from that heart space and is as sensitive and as loving as me. So no matter if you're gay, straight, single, personality type, coupled or not, you can jump onto this. So it's almost a hybrid of speed dating meets networking. Think of something like BNI or a classic business networking where you're talking about your ideal client and then word of mouth referral is generated. And it's also a collaboration with matchmaking because I'm a leading matchmaker and coach, and I will be facilitating it, adding value around relationships. And off the back of that, I am hoping that a huge amount of introductions can flourish and I can fulfill my mission, which is to help singles meet their soulmate and couples to find their spark. And if any of the couples resonate with me and want any tips around how to find their spark, that will be a benefit to the singles because spark is why we want a relationship, right? So it's for anyone and everyone that want that soulmate connection. So if you want to meet your soulmate or you know a possible soulmate, you want to dob them in, I will be putting confidentiality, discretion, and anonymity and safety at the top of the list. I've got ways of doing that, and it'll all be done through me as the auditor, the soulmate auditor and gatekeeper, so that there is no funny business or conflicts of interest or safety that arise.
Awesome. Yeah. So, listeners, if you're keen on the event, and it sounds very exciting, and I'm sure you will be, I'll put in the show notes how to contact Miranda, so you can get in direct contact with Miranda, and she'll walk you through the process. And Miranda, I thoroughly, again and again, just thank you for all your wisdom, your just sharing so many great tips, and you're just such an expert in this area of soulmate connecting, matchmaking, relationship enhancing, uh, all of the above. And I'm sure the listeners got so much out of this episode that please like and share it with others that could also benefit from listening, watching this episode. So thanks again, Miranda.
And if
And
anyone has any questions, feel free to get in touch. I'm sure we'll tag me in wherever this video goes, and I'd love to hear from you guys if you're interested in a conversation, a quick one, or you want to book a session or anything like that. And my ears are open, my heart's open, and no such thing as a silly question. I'd love to hear from some of you.
awesome. Yeah. So reach out, connect with Miranda, and
Awesome.
she'll certainly be back on the show again. There's no
Yay!
doubt about
Yeah, I think
it.
that's everything. Thank you so much, Anthony. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll continue sending you all my clients for self-love through nutrition and your absolute expertise when it comes to health and wellness. You're the man. Thanks, legend.
Thanks, Miranda.
Thank you.
Bye.